a streaming first approach to data management. What is this and why is it important? And what does it take to have a solid technical and organizational foundation for a streaming first approach? Erez Alsheich, he's the Chief Product Officer and the co-founder of Equalum, and he's here to share his extensive knowledge and experience on the streaming first approach. Welcome, Erez.
Thank you, Ronald. Happy to be here.
So, as a Chief Product Officer, you continuously discuss in depth with enterprises the technical and the operational challenges that they face in delivering this real-time data to applications and to systems and the requirements to their architecture. Can you elaborate on this?
Sure. So data being a big part of decision-making these days is nothing new, right? It's been going on for many, many years. But things have changed in the last 10 or so years, which causes enterprises to struggle with the newer architectures and paradigms of data integration and data ingestion. We see a lot of increase in the last years in complexity of data sources. These days we have social media, IoT devices, we have mobile phones generating data, and not just the traditional ERP and billing systems that used to be there 15 years ago. So much more data sources in many more new data formats in high velocity. And that's a first challenge that enterprises deal with. The second one is that, on the other hand, the analytics side of the data advanced significantly as well. So you have cloud platforms, you have cloud services like a Snowflake or Azure Data Lake Storage, or other significant Databricks, other significant platforms, and you have very good analytical tools as well. But the data integration piece, which moves the data between all these new data sources to the data targets, is lacking these days. It's enterprises are still relying on older batch technologies to do what they used to do 10 years ago, but the job they're tasked with today is much, much different. And they run into a lot of challenges, ranging from these batch tools not being able to serve these new requirements and new sources and new targets and so on, and all the way to those just running throughout the day instead of finishing in the nighttime because of larger amounts of data. So there's a lot of complexities in place, these days. And on top of that, there's another notion. Smaller organizations, smaller companies leverage data in real time to be real-time data driven and to achieve insights in real time. And they're able to do that because they're fast, they're agile, and most of all, they're able to adopt new open source technologies to do that. Enterprises are much slower to adopt that, so they fall behind business-wise. The data, industry is just there to serve the business. And when other organizations can take decisions in real time and leverage real-time data, and you're stuck back with what I call stale analytics based on batch data, that is a real problem for the business.
So you're referring to the social streaming data, to the advanced real-time analytics, you're referring to the integration, but also to live streaming type of data. And you help many enterprises to set up the successful streaming data first architecture. So what do you see as the most important success criteria to set this up?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We get that asked a lot. So I think there are two factors to that. One of them is more about the mindset, and the other one is about technology. On the mindset side, you have to be very aware of which use case you use in streaming. Some use cases are more batch oriented, like an end of year report, and some are very, very time sensitive, like reacting to a user on your website. So you have to choose the use case very carefully. The other thing is the technology side. And I like comparing this to a car, right? When you drive your car, you want to get from point A to point B, regardless of where you're going and how fast you plan on going and all of that. You don't need to plan anything, just go in and drive. Your data architecture needs to be similar. It has to support a multi-model approach. Batch, streaming, ELT, ETL, everything has to be satisfied with the same platform. So you expect the platform to be zero coding. So you just go in and develop your pipeline through a very intuitive UI. You expect it to be flexible, whether it's databases to files, semi-structured data to data lakes. It doesn't matter. In batch or real time, everything has just to be seamless. Everything has to be supported in the same way, same manner. And on top of that, it has to be easily managed, monitored, and integrated, so you don't have to work for it. It can work for you.
I think clear challenges and clear criteria to be successful. What we see is that the collection and ingestion of real-time data is becoming increasingly important for every company that has to work with data. So how can companies prepare to meet this type of requirements now, but especially in the short-term future?
Yeah, that's another thing that we're focusing a lot in our product roadmap. Again, we just like I mentioned the Hadoop kind of evolution. There was another revolution, which is the cloud, revolution. And when the cloud initiative started, everyone was the terminology was let's move to the cloud, right? Let's move everything to the cloud, and it never works like that, right? It's always let's shift whatever we can to the cloud. So here it's the same analogy, right? These days we're talking about a multi-model architecture, a multi-model offering, which includes ELT, batch ETL, real-time stream processing, and real-time replication. And all of those should be facilitated in the same framework if you want to be flexible and use one framework for all of your data ingestion needs. So the main factor is choosing a platform that can facilitate all of those, and then choose the use case that you want to implement one by one. Just not implement one size fits all, but just choose which one is relevant for real time, which one for batch, which one for ELT, which one for real time stream processing, and so on and so on. And maybe the last thing is, like I said, it has to be very, very, very flexible and easy to use. So you have to have a platform that does not require you, babysitting it all day. It's self-monitored, self-managed, and reliable, scalable, and all of that. It has to be in order to facilitate your current needs as well as your future ones.
Thank you, Erez. And very clear criteria, I think, how to become successful in this streaming era. For the audience, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.